Welcome to the Football Historian Podcast.
By all means, enjoy it.
He will go right to the very top.
Dos, tres, cuatro times.
Here we go, Germans.
I will turn these results round.
All right, that's good manners.
There's animosity, but there's no fight.
If you can't beat them, join them.
How do you make me feel sick if I look at you?
No, I want to fight here. Don't drink, don't sleep with women, don't drive fast cars.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit too!
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Football Historian Podcast. Today I'm very kindly joined by Howard Gayle. Thank you very much for coming along.
Thanks for having me on.
No worries at all. So we're going to start off, obviously it's the Football Historian Podcast, and you are actually our first ex-player to be sat in that lovely chair that used to be in my kitchen. But obviously, so we're going to just talk about your career to start with, that's all right, which famously begins at Liverpool and the club that you supported. Got here, actually, from your first game. If you'd like to have a quick look, that's your debut that you made against Man City. On that same season, 1980-81, it's your debut against City. Your first start was against Spurs. Sunderland was your first Anfield start, but I think the question you must get asked the most is Bayern Munich in the semi-final of the European Cup. But before we go on to that, just what was that first season like for you? Obviously, you flicked on that page there. It was Alan Hansen, It's quite a good team you were in. So what was it like playing for Liverpool?
It's ironic, really, because I was watching that Munich game last night and a few more games from around that era, and I didn't really. I did, but it come to a position where we were a lot better than what people thought.
Yeah.
As a team, and again, when you've seen some of the pitches that we were playing on, and we were playing 1-2 touch football, which was above what any other clubs again were doing, and it was a juggernaut which was just about to be unleashed on the football league. We were going through a transition period with Shanks had left in the summer of 77 was it 77 when I first came, and I was a little bit gutted actually because I'd missed him, you know what I mean? Because he was God for us as a club. He helped us and made us believe in ourselves, and we have that philosophy until this day.
Yeah, of course. Well, and obviously, we said that season it must have been amazing for you to play for the club you supported, and was it any shame that it was so brief? It was 5 appearances, I think, in one season. And what was that? Did you think from then you were going to kick on and start getting more games, or was it a shock that maybe you didn't? Yeah,
well, I'd made an impact in that 81 season with the game in Munich. The following Saturday, scored at Spurs. Played in a game at the last game of the season at Anfield where we got beat 1-0 by Sunderland. And Sunderland needed to win to stay up, and the game was of no significance for us, and there was a lot of innuendos and complaints levelled at us because we'd been beaten at home. We hadn't been beaten at home all season, and last game of the season. And then I know again the boss, the gaffer, Doug, he was a northeast man, and he was quietly pleased again, as I say, that Sunderland had been able to avoid relegation.
Yeah, well, and then obviously we go on. Obviously, I know a lot of people must speak to you about Bayern Munich, but obviously there's life after Liverpool for you, and you had a couple of loan spells. We got here Fulham and Blackburn. What was it like for you to be sent out on loan?
Well, Blackburn, I was sent out on loan to Fulham to gain experience. I was kind of like stagnating in the reserves. It was too easy. I'd gone past that level, and I needed sort of like first team football, so he sent me down to Fulham. Bobby Campbell had asked, could he buy me, and the club have said no, and he's come back to the club and asked him could he have me on loan. So I went down to Fulham for 2 months, which was a great experience for me. And
what division were they in then? Sorry,
they were in. I think they were still in the first division. Yeah, the old first division, and I was recalled back to Liverpool for the 81 game in Munich.
Right, okay, so it was just getting experience. And was that just much needed? Did you say you was just
as I say, I was stagnating playing in the reserves. I needed a challenge. It was too easy.
Yeah.
And like I was scoring hat-tricks and 2s and 3s, you know what I mean? And I'd gone into the manager and I'd asked him. I said, listen, can I go out on loan to get some experience? And he said, leave it with me for a couple of weeks. And I'm not sure whether he contacted Newcastle or whether Newcastle had contacted him. And Arthur Cox had asked, could he take me on loan for a couple of months? Because that was the time when Kevin Keegan had that eye injury. He'd had a finger or a nail in his eye and he was out for a couple of months because of it. So he took me on loan.
So, and then you went from there. And obviously, I just wanted to talk about Birmingham as well. Obviously, that was like a permanent home for you. Obviously, you had a few loan moves. Moving away from Liverpool, you know, what was that like? Did you feel like this is my career starting now and you're going to go and make a name for yourself, or was it a scary thought?
Well, it was obviously a scary thought. You're leaving one of the best clubs in Europe, which is, again, just about to roll on to be a juggernaut. And I'm going to a club which is basically struggling in the same division. And has had a history of struggling. But I knew that I had to move away from Liverpool to get first team football. Yeah. And Birmingham was a good place for me to do that.
And was it your idea to go, or was it club's
idea? Well, again, as I say, I came in one morning, and the gaffer Bob Paisley said that Birmingham had been on, and they've asked, could they take you on loan? Or could they buy me? And I said no, I didn't really want to go to Birmingham as a sale player. I said I'll go on loan. And I went on loan, and then after a few weeks, the loan turned into a permanent move. I knew I wasn't going back to Liverpool, and I knew that I needed somewhere where, again, I could kind of like get myself back on the beam. Yeah,
and then I was looking at some of your goals. You scored one at Birmingham. I think it was in the derby against Villa, and you're climbing up on the fences. Yeah. How was that? How was that derby, first of all, and that goal?
Well, we go back to the first derby we had earlier on in the season, and it was at Villa Park, and the game itself should never have been played. The conditions were atrocious. It had been raining for something like 48 hours, and there was surface water. Should never have been played. In fact, the goal, we got beat 1-0, and the goal was down to a back pass that stuck in the water, and Peter Wood's got a toe to it, and it's gone in. And no matter how hard we tried that day, again, as I say, we couldn't score. There was a little bit of afterwards, after the game as well, in the tunnel. The rivalry was really, really fierce between Birmingham and Aston Villa. And the second game now was revenge, because it was at St Andrews, and I got a man of the match performance and scored, jumped right up on the railings, and I knew how much it meant to the Birmingham fans. You know what I mean, we've been serving up crap to them all season, and this was their moments of glory.
Yeah, and obviously you're playing in a derby like that, obviously not as a Liverpool player, but knowing what it's like to play against Everton, and you go to plenty of other clubs. What is, do you think, the most bitter rivalry you've experienced as a player?
Well, you look at all of them. You look at Sunderland, Newcastle, Birmingham, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Everton. But I think the rivalry in this city is a rivalry to itself. Yeah. And the history of it goes back so many years, and the history of it has took different directions. In like for us, it was Hillsborough and Heysel, and the Everton fans were blaming us for them not being able to progress in Europe because they'd won the UEFA Cup.
The Cup Winners' Cup.
Cup, and they thought that their time was going to start now, but all the English clubs got banned out of Europe. Yeah. So there was a bitter divide.
That's right, but it obviously stems back to that. And maybe we just touch back to Birmingham again. You only spent a year there, and obviously you said it wasn't sorted that it was going to be a permanent move until you were there for a while. But why was it? No.
It was what's the name? They bought me.
Yeah. So I mean, but that wasn't originally the plan. Was it loan and then they bought, or?
Well, again, as I say, I don't know the logistics of it, but I know that the gaffer he'd been trying to buy me. See, when I met him, he said, "I've been trying to get you for ages." He said Liverpool weren't having it. Yeah. Understandably, you know what I mean. Again, I'm a growing prospect for LFC, and if there'd have been an opportunity to stay, then I'd have stayed at Anfield. But I just knew that the the chances were limited, and I think I was 23, so I was getting on in age, and I hadn't played enough league football that I knew I needed to do to get experience to progress.
Yeah. Well, I saw also, I think Curtis Jones scored in the under-21s final for England. He was the first player since yourself, first Liverpool player since yourself to do so. I've got it down here, you were an over-age player for the under-21s. So how did that work at that time?
Well, they used to have I think you were allowed 2 over-age players to sort of like giving the over-age players maybe an opportunity that they wouldn't be getting playing up for the 23s, but also again giving the under-21s again a little bit of experience, helping in the progression. And I was at Birmingham, and it was surreal feeling really, because we'd just been relegated on the Saturday, and I had to join up with the 21s on the Sunday in Manchester, because we were flying to Seville to play Spain over 2 legs, and the second leg was at Bramall Lane, and it was I think it was the Wednesday or the Thursday after the season had finished. So I went there with a forked tongue, you know what I mean? I was absolutely gutted that my club had been relegated. Yeah. And here I am, I'm getting an opportunity. And I think the plan was that I was on standby for, I think it was Mexico. I was on standby for the full England squad. I think that's why they played me in the 21s to see how I could cope in that environment.
You scored.
And I scored, but they took Mark Haitley. Instead of me.
But I was going to say, in that under 21s team, obviously as an underage player, there was like Dave Watson, Gary Stevens, Steve Hodge, and Mark Haitley. So.
Well, again, the Everton lads had just won the league. You know what I mean? So again, they were buzzing. Derek Mountfield was another one. Paul Bracewell. They were buzzing. So. You know what I mean? Again, they had, I think they had about 5 or 6. Gary Stevens, was another one. They had about 5 or 6 players in that squad who'd only come into the squad as a result, I think it was from their endeavours with the clubs. Yeah.
And then there's one other thing that was quite strange that I looked at your career. It's indoor football in Dallas.
Yeah.
So what's that all about? Why are you swapping?
No, well, again, I got released by I think it was Sunderland.
Yeah.
And
I think it was 2 seasons you had at Sunderland.
Yeah.
Went off to Dallas, yeah.
And I couldn't get a club. Everywhere I was ringing up and trying to speak to managers and whatever, either getting blanked or I was getting told a different story. So somebody contacted me and said there's an opportunity here for you to go and play indoor league in Dallas. And at first again I said no.
Yeah.
But as the weeks went by again, as I say, the guys come back to me, and I don't want to be in limbo here and missing the transfer deadline and having to wait till Christmas or the next year.
So you wouldn't be able to join like a free agent. So it was just kind of desperation type
so I
thing,
kind of like I said I'll go and have a season here or a couple of seasons here and see how it goes, and I'll evaluate it then again in 12 months. And I got a little bit homesick over there because there was a lot of travelling. Where we were in Dallas, every game was a away game. We had to stay overnight, so we had to fly. Yeah, you know what I mean. So it was a great experience for me. But I got home. I missed the outdoor game.
Yeah, that's great. Like, it's just mad that you just thought of that today. Obviously, as you say, you're winning stuff with England, you're playing First Division football, you're playing with Villa, Sunderland, Liverpool, and then to go and make a move to an indoor league in America, it would make a few headlines now. So, was there anyone who questioned you doing it, or
no? But then again, as I say, the Americans were trying to get this league up, and they tried it with the outdoor game, and they failed, and they come at it now with a cross between the ice hockey and the ice hockey and the basketball, because all the games were played on an ice hockey pitch, and they used to lay the astroturf on top of so
they go out to like behind the goal.
They had the barriers around the end, but in fact the indoor pitches were played on ice hockey pitches. So all they did was they laid the astroturf down on top of the ice.
That's mad.
And then took it up. Like we'd be playing one night, and then the ice hockey team would be playing the next night.
Was there any other like big player, any other English players, any other big players in the
There was a
league,
couple at our club again. There was Victor Stride. Long time ago.
But was it mildly commonplace for anyone to do that, or were you?
Yeah, well, there was the lad from used to be at Arsenal. What's his name? Used to call him Huggy Bear. Oh, big tall black lad used to play at the back for them.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
Oh,
I can search that.
Keith Weller. Keith Weller.
Yeah.
Was our coach. With Gordon Jago. There was a splattering of players, but not really any again. Big names from the UK. We used to have a guy playing for us. He was a Brazilian called Tattoo. He had this thing of every time he scored, he used to take his shirt off and throw it into the crowd and get another shirt. And it was a gimmick, and the club loved it. And again, I got homesick for the outside game.
Yeah.
Came home. Dallas had won the league. Yeah.
So, and obviously, you don't have to tell me what it was, but like pay wise, was it like a big payday, or was it just what you?
No. In fact, the pay was, I think it was double what I was getting here.
Yeah.
But
it's a big life change.
Yeah, they would, and obviously again, I had my accommodation and all that paid for, so it allowed me to save a few bob.
And how long were you there for? Sorry?
I was there for about 7 months.
Yeah, sorry, I was just interested in how many aside was it? 11 aside, 6
no,
aside?
it was 6.
Yeah.
6 aside, indoor, and you could change at any substitute. They had a sim bin. They had a thing in the goal where there's the ball. This was the first time that I'd seen the the goal line technology. They had goal line technology indoors, and again the ball used to hit the bar come down, and it used to happen a lot. But they used to have a light at the side of the goal that would light up if it was in.
Yeah. Well, so that's like mid-80s, isn't it?
Yeah, 86 I went there.
They're like 30, 40 years ahead of the Premier League. Well, we just have one last quick question on your career before we cut to a break, if that's all right. I just saw you spent a lot of time at Blackburn, and it was just quite how your career was almost like tail-ended by Kenny Dalglish. So your first chances, well, not first chance, but like main game at Liverpool is coming on for an injured Kenny Dalglish.
Yeah.
At the end of it, it's 92 on the brink of Blackburn and going to go and win the Premier League, and Kenny's buying other strikers. Like
he's ended my career.
Well, I didn't want to say it like that. You said it, yeah.
He's ended my career.
So, obviously, you look at that Blackburn team, you said there, you miss out on Dallas winning it, you see Liverpool go and win, and what did that feel to leave Blackburn when they're on the cusp of that Premier League season?
Well, Jack Walker had just come in with all his money. They'd sacked the manager, Don Mackay, great manager. I mean, managers, again, you look at the past managers of LFC, and you look at the likes of the impact that Bill Shankly had on the club. Well, Bill Shanks was a manager where the players wanted to play for him, and the fans wanted to support them. And Don Mackay at Blackburn, he had the same effect on us. He come down from Scotland. He was a hands-on coach. He knew how to treat his players. And we were in the playoffs 4 out of the 5 years that I was there.
Yeah.
So we were getting he was getting a good tune out. He was attracting top players, the likes of Kevin Moran and Frank Stapleton, Scott Sellers. We had the all-time leading goal scorer in Simon Garner. So we had a really good team, and as I say, we were in the playoffs 4 years out of the 5 years I was there.
Yeah.
And we got so close to getting promotion that in the last year, Kenny came in. They sacked Don Mackay. Kenny came in, and I thought, well, Kenny's come from Liverpool. Obviously, I would have thought that we would have adopted some of the playing style of Liverpool, and because I know it, I thought that I would have fitted in, but it wasn't to be. And I'd had I wouldn't say a beef, but I'd had a disagreement with the club. I had an injury, and the club had had said to the physio, don't tell the players what the injuries are or what the extent of them are or how long it's going to be. I had a hamstring problem that kept on reoccurring. It kept me out for about 6 months. So I just said, it's like, this is to reoccur and I'm getting depressed here. So I went and seen an osteopath myself.
Yeah.
When I went in the room with the boy, he just said, your back's out. And I said, you haven't even touched me. I said, I've been used to hearing bad news or not good news. And I'm walking in here and you're telling me that. He said, your back's out, son.
So you get hamstring problems from your back?
It was my back. It was my back that was causing it. So he said, stand up against the wall. And he marked one shoulder and another shoulder. And the shoulders were like that. That's how he knew.
Yeah.
So he got me on the table. He cracked all my spine back in. He did all my spine going back in. And I'm thinking, I had a beef with the physio because I didn't think that the physio was a physio at Blackburn. I was fuming to say that he should have known this.
Yeah, he should have spotted it.
Yeah, and as I say, I've been out for 6 months. Every time I came back, it kept on going and going and going. So the guy, as I say, he put me back in, but the club didn't like it. Yeah. The club didn't like that I'd gone behind the regime to go and get sorted out myself.
Yourself on that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. We're going to go to a quick break and we'll speak a bit more about your career. That's right. So we'll see you in a sec.
Yeah.
Hey, we're really running out of advertisers, so I'm advertising my own book, and this is the Tommy Lawrence book called Sweeper Keeper, Tommy Lawrence, the story of Liverpool and Scotland's flying pig. So Tommy Lawrence was a goalkeeper for Liverpool during the 60s under Bill Shankly. And this book comes out the 25th of March. And I would love it if you bought it. As Kevin Keegan once said, I would love it. And this is the book. If anyone wants to buy this advertising space so I don't have to advertise myself, that's fine. But that's the book. These are the words. And Tom is going to read a very short extract from it now.
They were making no headway and certainly were fortunate not to be mocked down.
Right, buy the rest of the book and you'll see what happens. Thank you. The next section features language that some people may find uncomfortable. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, welcome back. Still here with Howard. I want to talk to you about being a trailblazer. So we've already talked about your indoor football career, which still, for me, was quite a mad story. But you're the first black player to play for Liverpool, Newcastle and Blackburn. I've read some quotes on what you said, and you said, for being the first black player to play for Liverpool, I was proud to represent the black community of Liverpool. Was it the same pride for having those accolades at Newcastle and Blackburn as well, or is Liverpool far superior, or just what was it like to be a trailblazer? Basically? Yeah,
well, Liverpool's my club, and they were far superior against any other club that I played for, and the pride and the honest admiration in being able to be the first black player, or to break that barrier down. For others to follow. Obviously at the end of the next one was Barnsley, but for me again, as I say, and for my family and for black people within the city, because we just gone through the 1981 riots as well, so that had a huge part to play in my development as a footballer, because I had one eye on the riots, because all my brothers and friends and that were actively involved in it, and I was going to jump in there as well, but they told me that you've got bigger fish to fry in where you are, so you can't get involved in this.
So was that hard for you not to get involved? Or?
It was, because again, I know I'd seen the suffering every day of people again with no work, with no prospects, with no finances or money coming into the community or into the city. So it was really, really hard, because I could see the sufferings of family and friends, and even again people that I didn't know. Liverpool and Liverpool 8 was it was like a derelict site, which needed a lot of development, and more importantly, from the development side of it, it needed prospects for people, for young people to have an aspiration of, when I grow up, I've got a job to do, or this is what I want to do, or this is the education or the college, but we weren't afforded that. So in 1981, again, as I say, we were. It was really, really surreal, because me and Sammy Lee, again, we were great friends, and we did a lot together. And I think it was 4 or 5 days after that European Cup final in Paris that we were going on holiday to Portugal, and with our girlfriends, and I'd seen the beginning of the riots, and I'd seen the incidents that seen it progress into what it became, and it was really, really unreal, because on a Saturday, 8 o'clock in the night, we're going on holiday, and during the day there'd been little skirmishes with the police, and when we got into Portugal on the Sunday morning, Sammy had this thing where he used to go for the papers, and he said, "Have you seen this?" And when he opened the papers, it was just Liverpool 8 on fire. And I tried to get a flight back home, and I spoke to my brothers, and they said, "Nah." I said, "You again, enjoy your holiday. You're better off staying where you are." Yeah. And even it was 2 weeks later when we went back, they were still rioting.
Yeah.
It was still going on again, and I was catching the like the end of it, whereas the police had these jeeps and they were driving up and down, and they were hitting those trees, the other trees used to plant along the side of the road for the bigger trees to grow out of. They were just hitting them, and the trees used to go down. They went over it, the tree came back up. So this is what the police were doing, but they were trying to intimidate and it wasn't working.
Yeah.
And they took a batter in those 2 weeks, the police.
Yeah. So obviously, you said there wasn't opportunities for people in that community. So did you feel like you had to act as a role model to people?
Yeah.
So that this is what you can do? And
yeah, I knew the importance of what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that it was going to affect other people's lives in a positive way.
Yeah.
I tried like hell to get some of my friends, Stephen Skeets, I got him a trial at Liverpool. There was a guy called Stevie Cole. He got murdered not long after leaving Liverpool. So I was trying to, everywhere I went to Birmingham, I took lads from our area, got them trials at Birmingham. I went to Blackburn, took lads from our area, got them trials at Blackburn. I always tried to help somebody else, or use my position to help somebody else up the ladder.
Yeah, well, obviously that's very admirable to do that. But for you to be the first black player at 3 different clubs is obviously firstly amazing, and it's a great thing for you to have. But obviously, I'm sure you would happily have not been the first black player for small people.
Yeah, well, and I said that, and the indictment is in the statement that I was the first black player in 1977.
Yeah,
and when you look at the world of football today, is that black players on clubs are well represented within the realms of football. It hasn't advanced as yet to coaching or management or any other realm, but black players again are grounded now within most clubs, within most first teams. But it's that next stage now as a black man looking to see where progression is. When's there going to be a black coach who's not a foreigner, who's brought up with the ideology of what we do here in the UK?
Yeah.
And there's been those again who you would have thought would have fitted that mantle again. Barnsley again, Incy. who had short spells in management. But talking to them two, they always felt that they never really had the full support of the board or the club itself.
Yeah, it's like, well, extra barriers you've got to win over.
Yeah.
It's unfair.
Well, it's like they're waiting for an excuse to sack you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Two steps back before you do the door type thing. Yeah. Well, obviously, for you, again, to be the first back player, that means there aren't many others at that time. So what was it like racism in football at that time? Was it in the dressing rooms that you were in? Was it other teams?
Yeah. Well, as I say, and I've mentioned it in my book again, that Liverpool weren't exempt from it.
Yeah.
There were people inside Liverpool who were damn right horrible, and we're using it as a way of affecting my performance. But I had two good brothers behind me who told me again, or wised me up on how to approach it. And there was a time where there was a certain person within the club who was making my life hell. I went home one day and said, I'm done here. And our kid said, you can't do that. I said, it's like just been talking about. He said, you're representing the community here. He said, if they see you're a failure or you're a packer in it, they're not going to come for anyone else. So I told them what was going on. And our kid said, listen, do you want us to go up there and we'll deal with him? Because they'd had a position with Tommy Smith a few years beforehand, and he was a bully.
Yeah.
And when my brothers said that, they said, listen, you've got to do it or we'll sort him. So it was one day in training. I've had a shot and it's hit I got very good striker of the ball, and it's hit him on the inside of his leg, and he was jumping and hopping around, and he started calling me Black Soul Motor around, and I just stopped. Everyone stopped, and I went, if you ever call me that again, one night when you go to bed, you go out your room for a piss and I'll be there, and you'll never ever forget that moment. He looked at me and he seen that I wasn't messing, and he seen that I'd done it in front of everyone so everybody could see. So anyone else who wanted to follow his pathway, I was ready to deal with it now. So he didn't say nothing. Kind of like he kept out of my way or off my case. And I'd admired this man. You know what I mean? As a Liverpool legend in the 74 cup final. You know what I mean? And to go and into an environment where an idol is actually a bigot and a racist, then your whole aspect in again. I'm thinking, if this is him representing the club, what else is going on there? Who else thinks I'm Vinegar Coon or whatever?
Yeah.
So it's it took a lot of straightening, a lot of things that I had to deal with. When Bruce Grobbelaar first came to the club, he come from apartheid regime from South Africa, which I was opposed to.
Yeah.
And there's times again where me and him nearly had beef around the same things, because again he had that mentor and that ideology of a white South African who didn't have any discord again for black people.
Yeah.
Again, as I say, I made him change that view. So
it's two different ways to deal with it. You either, like, as you were initially thinking, do you go away from it, or what your brothers advised and was the right thing is facing up and telling people they're wrong. And obviously that takes a lot of strength to do that with massive people in the dressing room who are leaders and voices. Yeah. So obviously, again, it's admirable that you've done that.
It's brilliant, because as somebody, again, I admire all our captains that we had in Emlyn Hughes, Phil Thompson, and Graham Souness. Because when I done that morning to Tommy Smith, Graham Souness walked past me and went, brilliant. Yeah. Went brilliant. Again, for standing up for yourself. And because again, he didn't like Graham Souness, because Graham Souness had took over his captaincy. Graham was arrogant, and he knew that he couldn't mess with Graham neither.
Yeah, he's captain. Yeah. Well, I say it's amazing you've done that, and I know we always. you wouldn't want to be the first player to do that, but you'll always have that thing against your name, and that's something I'm sure I don't know, you've said before you are proud of. But in 2016 you were offered an MBE and you turned it down. Could you just tell us why you done that?
Yeah, well, again, I'd always had this thought about those gongs, and those gongs originating and are poured on by a royal family that was implicated in the slave trade in Africa, and most of the ships that were taking slaves were measured up as royal. You know what I mean? That had to be the royal standard. So, the truth about what went on in the slave trade again has never really been told. You know what I mean, it's only been told as a harker, and again, maybe again people will find it appalling. But there was over, I think, 100 million Africans that were thrown into the Atlantic Ocean. They didn't make the journey through disease, through punishment, through whatever. 100 million tossed into the Atlantic Ocean because they didn't have the disobedience or sick. So those figures itself again shows you the enormity and the will of a culture to try and overcome another culture.
Yeah. And then what was it you were awarded the MBE for?
For me work again, I've always done a lot of work for Kick It Out and Show Racism with a Red Card. I've always done a lot of work on equality.
Yeah.
And racism. I've always been outspoken within the football world about it. So I think it was Show Racism with a Card. Jed Grabby, he nominated me for the MBE, but didn't ask me. If he did ask me, I'd have told him. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be accepting it. Yeah. So that was my stance on it, and it's still my stance again today.
Yeah. But again, I think it's admirable to do stuff like that, and there's plenty of stories there. And obviously, it's an honour to have you in. I'd say with stories like that. But we'll go to another quick break now, if that's okay, and we'll come back and keep it out. Are you looking for a Kazakhstani football team to support? Then I think FC Kemay is the team you should support. Do you agree?
Growing up as a child, I always had FC Kemay posters on my bedroom wall.
Well, and all the children of the Kazakhstani future will have FC Kemay posters on their wall because FC Kemay is the team to support, and because of that, Tom has made us a chant that we're all going to follow. So,
up the Kemay, up the Kemay,
up the Kemay. Make sure you follow them on all the social medias. All the posts and all the things you should follow will appear below us right here. And you should be a supporter of FC Kemay.
Live, laugh, Kemay.
Hello, welcome back to the Football Historian podcast. We're going to talk now, as it's called this, about football history. So, obviously, everyone's love for the game starts somewhere. What was your first game or first memory of football, and why you fell in love with it?
My mum was a Liverpoolian and my dad was an Evertonian. You're always favourite towards your mum, don't you? And my two brothers were Liverpoolians. My sister was a Liverpoolian, and my dad used to sit on the couch on his own. And on a Saturday, my dad used to do the pools for Everton, whereas they got these like what's the name cards, and yeah, I took it round to some of his clients around the corner. The pools they think they were called. So that was my kind of like my pocket money. So I took the pools on, I got pocket money. But for me, being a Liverpool fan, my mum bought me one of the old shirts, with the round badges on. Hey, the retro shirts, they were brilliant then. And I was thinking about Roger Hunt and Ian St John and Cali. And that shirt was, again, as I say, that kit again was brilliant. When you got a kit again, right now again, modern day kids get a kit and they got 3 or 4 kits. They've got a rack like that. You know what I mean? Whereas again, we had a kit and it had to last you, but you'd wear it every day, and some days you'd sleep in it. You know what I mean? And I went to bed every night dreaming of being able to play for Liverpool, and never ever thought that it'd be the case, because again there was no black players playing for Liverpool, and for that to happen, the club had to change its ideology on how it used players, what it was expected to get out of these players, and what they were prepared to develop out of a player, rather than again them following the porous natural navigation of other clubs. Because I remember watching I think it was Match of the Day, and Jimmy Hill was come up with a statement that they're not very good when it gets wet or when it gets cold, a cold night around, and that was never ever the case. But this was and he was the chairman of Coventry City at the time as well. So and I'm not sure whether Big Cyril was there by then. But these are the things that people who were reputable within the game were throwing out. So you're throwing that out on BBC. Everybody watching BBC is going to think that they don't like playing in the cold weather or when it gets adverse.
Stuff like that, especially, isn't it? Yeah. Well, obviously that's wearing kits, and as you can see from my rack, as you said, I can relate to that. But maybe what's the best game of football? I'll say you've been involved in, which I might be able to know, and then the best game of football that you possibly have seen for whatever.
Saint Etienne.
There it is, there.
Yeah. Yeah. The whip. Yeah, that game was special. That game was I think that sets us up in Europe for the comeback kings. People used to always hate coming to Anfield for that second leg. We were really good at it, largely because we knew how to connect with the fans. And the fans knew how to connect with the players on the pitch, and that's why we're a unique club. Other clubs again they come to Anfield and they sing "Where's your famous atmosphere?" They don't sing that because we've got an atmosphere that we don't want to sing this today. It's collective. As soon as you go in that ground again on match days, you're obligated to support the team and sing for the team, and that place that it takes you into. I've seen so many turnarounds in Anfield. And so many great experiences on the road, because I followed them all over the place as well. So being able to go from the terraces to now being within the ranks of the changing room was a fundamental, again, as I say, achievement for me. And for, as I say, for black people, it must have been the right time and the right place, because after that, again, as I say, the black players again, they bought Barnsley, they paid, and that was at 900,000 for Barnsley, and I had newspapers ringing me up saying to me, what do you think Barnes' chance is going to be within Liverpool? And I just said, well, they've invested a lot of money in him, so you would have thought he's going to excel, and I've played against him and he's a top player. So that combination between having a top player within a top club with top fans, it was a marriage made in heaven.
Yeah, he wasn't bad, was he?
No,
I think we can say that. Yeah. And maybe just a few more questions on this, on football itself. What do you think your favourite era is? Obviously, I know you played, and that obviously couldn't be yourself, but is it before you, after you?
All of it. Being a Liverpool fan, I would say I've been fortunate to see the glory while a fan. I've been fortunate to see the glory while a player, and I've been fortunate to see the glory while watching on from a distance. But I've always been a Liverpool fan. When I've gone to other clubs, I've told them, you know what I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan first. You know what I mean? And again, I've had arguments in the changing rooms where they said, well, you should be putting your full force again behind this club, and I said, well, I do, but I'm a Liverpool fan, and when we play against Liverpool again, I'll try my hardest to get out for my team, but after the game, I'm a Liverpool fan.
So never a hint of a Jamie Carragher move from yourself going.
No, it doesn't seem to happen that way, does it? Where you get Liverpoolians going to be Everton supporters. I remember back in the 70s, Alan Harper and Kevin Sheedy, because they were both integral parts in our first team, in our club, in the reserves, and it was very, very rare that you seen players go from Liverpool to Everton or Everton to Liverpool. Very, very rare. I'm very, very surprised again when you see that the club would sell to top players like them to your rivals, because they won the league, them two with Everton.
Yeah, but of course. Someone should write a book about the players who played for Liverpool and Everton.
Yeah.
Tommy Lawrence is my latest book, and you helped me with that. And your love for the Bill Shankly era really came through this. I just want to speak, obviously, as a fan, and you said you just missed out on Shankly. What did you think of Bill Shankly's Liverpool?
Yeah, well, again, he used to come down the training ground at Melwood after he'd retired, and I don't think the staff liked him doing that. I think he was thinking that he was having a bigger, because he come round, he come to Melwood and pulled me to one side and started talking to me, and I'm just gobsmacked. I'm just standing there like that with my mouth open. This is Bill Shankly, you know what I mean, taking his time out to talk to me. A brilliant man, brilliant character, brilliant leader. He set in history in our club, and I was thinking, watching some stuff last night, we're a club that no other club can follow or is at their own. We've had more managers that have left our club while on top than any other club. Normally, again, you get the sack for being a manager because you're crap or your team's crap. But our managers have left, and when you look at Shankly, Paisley, Fagan, Evans, I'm not sure whether Kenny walked or whether he was relieved of his job. But most of the managers at our club have left under their own validity, under their own terms. You look around the world again for clubs who have that sort of familiarity with the manager and the fans, and to leave on good terms and to still be a part of the club after they've left. No other club can do it.
No, you see banners on the cop with all the old managers.
Yeah.
I think Carragher says it's the only club in England where managers are above the players.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a testament to what the fans do. Yeah. I think you're in a good position to answer this question as well. The top 5 Liverpool players of all time, and if I could be extra mean and ask you to put them in an order, if that would be okay. You can obviously you'll have a good insight of many different eras, but I'd be interested to hear what you say.
Yeah, well, 5.
Well, you can do 3 if it's easier.
No, I'm bloody say I'll do 10.
Oh, that's fine.
For me, growing up, Roger Hunt.
There's one.
Kevin Keegan.
Strikers at the moment.
Yeah, and I put those 3 captains in. Of Tomo, Emlyn, Hughes, and Graham Souness. But there's Dalglish, there's Ray Kennedy, there's Sammy Lee. Wow.
Any of the modern era get anywhere near them, in your opinion, or
well,
the ones that came before?
Well, Steven Gerrard. I mean, you that's a difficult question for a Liverpool fan to pick 5 out of the last 70 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really,
well,
really.
If I can push you for number 1, who's the best ever then?
The best ever for me, I think it has to be Dalglish.
Yeah.
Dalglish took the club to a different level. Like, we used to be long ball with Keegan and Soshak. When Kenny came in, balls were going into his feet and he was joining up all the attacks. He transformed the team.
Yeah.
So I think and another one again is John Barnes. Again, as I say, as an individual, he was pardon me, unplayable. Would have loved to have played with another black player in the team.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I'll ask you that, the best non-Liverpool player that you've seen as well.
Non-Liverpool. I played with two lads at Blackburn. Simon Garner, who was the club's overall leading goal scorer, and lad used to play on the left side of the midfield called Scott Sellers. And I know Liverpool tried to buy him, and I think but the Blackburn said no. But he was a tremendous player, skillful. Reading of the game was really well. He was only small, but he was class. He was class.
But yeah. Okay, well, we'll do a final break before we come back with it to settle some more football history debates, and we'll see you in a second. Hello, this is the Football Historian Podcast. We have a Patreon. Basically, you get to see a lot of stuff for free, but if you could pay, it'd be better for me. But I'm going to tell you why you should do that. So, the first 100 people, Tom, it's £1 a month. You tell me what you can buy for £1.
Absolutely nothing.
I bet you could buy about 8 flumps. 8 flumps!
3 Freddos at current market rate.
Or go back in the day, many Freddos. But let's not talk about that. We're not bothered about history here at the Football Historian Podcast. We talk about facts and we talk about what's happening right now. Please, if you can afford it, become a patron. The first 100 patrons get it for £1 a month. Ridiculous.
If you don't buy it, Pete can't move out this garage.
I can't move out the garage. But everyone after the first 100, it's £3 a month minimum. Goes up to 5, goes up to 10. If you want to pay a tenner a month, I think you might be crazy. But I would really appreciate your support. And the whole thing, the whole reason we're doing this is that I love football. I love football history. And I spent a lot of money on these lights that you can't see and these mics that you can hear us speaking from. But the reason we're doing it is because this is something that I love and I enjoy. And if you want to support me, Tom, Rick, and everyone else who's behind the camera, I would really appreciate it if you become a Patreon and you will help my dream become a reality.
Ta-da.
The debate.
Right, welcome back. This is The Debate, and we're going to settle some of the biggest debates in football history, joined by Howard Gayle still. I'm going to start you off with Gerrard, Lampard and Scholes. I think I want to know who you say, but even if I can give you a 1, 2, 3 off you on them as well.
Well, Stevie Gerrard carried the club for so many years, carried it. Brilliant gesture when Benitez was trying to sell him to Chelsea and he said no. That to me again is a Liverpool player. He gets the club, and he's kind of like saying, "Well, no one's selling me. I'll go when I'm ready." And if he'd have gone, we'd have missed out on that with the Istanbul because he was brilliant that night.
Lampard or Scholes, we get a second place off you.
I'd pick Paul Scholes. I liked him as a player. Yeah, I think he again, as I say, I look at he's similar size and build to Sammy Lee, same colour there, but he was a prolific goal scorer for United, and he was part, or he was integral in their success. As so again was Frank Lampard for Chelsea.
Yeah.
But in that order, it would have been Gerrard, Scholes, and then Lampard.
Right, and then settle another one for me, please. Pele or Maradona?
Pele.
Easy.
Yeah.
Can you tell me why? Tell me why.
I just think overall, again, Maradona was more of an individual. His brilliance was based on that, whereas Pele made other players play around him. He was a team player, and he used to score some unbelievable goals as well. So for me, again, I say I grew up on him being an idol of mine.
Yeah. Right, and then next one a bit more modern. Messi or Ronaldo?
Again, I think Lionel Messi. Brilliant player for Barcelona. And again, I think he was more of a, like, you used to watch Ronaldo. When Ronaldo didn't score, he'd sulk. Or he'd have a face on him, or if they didn't pass to him with that last thing. Whereas Messi was more of a team player. He'd beat 10 men and pass it for somebody to score.
Yeah.
So for me, Lionel Messi.
Okay, great. And then, if Messi and Ronaldo are the best players of the last 20 years, which is another opinion if you agree with that or not, who do you reckon has been the third best player after those two in the last, say, 20 years, Premier League era, something like that?
Ooh, that's a difficult one, because again, you've had so many players who influence football.
I think we've had the likes of original Ronaldo, R9. We've had Zidane. Someone poorly recommended Wayne Rooney as third, but yeah, it's hard to pick, obviously. But I don't know.
I'd go back to Stevie G.
Yeah. After those.
Yeah.
Well, I can't disagree too much with it. And then another one, which I think I know the answer to from you, but it's something that we actually sent in on Instagram to ask. What club versus country? Obviously, you played under 21 level, and I don't think it's much of a competition. But for yourself,
club.
Always
Club.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. Okay, and then last one to settle a debate: the greatest team that's ever played. So if we say like a season or a 2-year window, who do you think is the best team and would beat any other team?
Well, I think that team, that Liverpool team from, say, 78 through to, say, 87. Yeah, I think that that Liverpool team, they were the evangelists again. They set out the template for Istanbul and for moments like that. And we lost our way a little bit with changing managers, and I think that was always the nemesis that was going to come our way, is that once we run out of people in the boot room, who was going to be next? And what the club did was they broke the tradition and went outside of the club to appoint a new manager in Gerard Houllier, and he maybe tried to change things too quickly. But again, as I say, you see the season where he won 4 out of 5 trophies again, which was again a brilliant achievement. But we never reached that height, and again, our goal was to start winning titles again, because Manchester United had been cleaning up, and there was only maybe Arsenal who were threatening that, and I think again in our case, we were just coming up short all the time. We beat Man United, but always at Anfield, but we couldn't sustain a challenge. Whereas again, as I say, we become title contenders again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad team to select, I'm sure. There'll be many people agreeing as well. Well, I think we finish it up there. Just obviously, thank you very much again. I really do appreciate you coming. Yeah. Is there anything you're up to now? Want to plug now? Anything you want to share with anyone? Or
yeah, well, you've got a bit of competition, because I'm starting up a podcast and a radio station, but mine will be global. I say my stuff will be going into Africa and into the Americas.
Okay, what that's called, or how we can watch it and listen?
No, what I'll do is I'll send you a link once.
Yeah,
I'll get it up in the next couple of weeks.
We'll try and put stuff in for you. That'd be great. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on. Been
an interesting chat, and I think we've got names down at the bottom. I forgot to mention last time, Rick is behind the camera doing all the technical stuff. And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Football Historian Podcast.
Thank you.